Good morning, y'all. Please take a seat. We're about 6 minutes late, so let's get started. When? Okay.
See if I can write upside down.
I got it. Welcome to our first quarterly SREC meeting, well, this term. And hey, I got echo. Nice. So I would like to welcome everyone to our meeting. Before I get started, I wanted to thank you all for being here on this Friday morning, this early. You guys are some dedicated people, that's for sure. And some of you got here like on Wednesday night. So not sure why, but thank you for being here. I would like to invite Ed Center to come and lead us in our prayer, and we'll get started. It's wonderful to have a Republican Party meeting starting with a word of prayer.
Lord, I thank you for this day and for all these people that have traveled here safely. Lord, let us have a glorious, productive meeting today. And Lord, let us work together for the betterment of the Republican Party of Texas. Lord, I praise you and I thank you. Amen.
I like it. I keep calling you for that. National anthem and the pledges. Wanted to invite John Carr. John's going to sing. We'll find out.
Everybody's got a flag. Let's pledge allegiance to the flag of the greatest nation on the face of the earth ever. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And I'll call upon Andy Eller to lead us in the pledge to Texas flag. Andy, is he here? All right.
Please join me in the pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible, Yeehaw.
Please be seated. I'd like to appoint Kristen Bentley and Jeremy Story and Gwen Whitrow to serve on the proxy committee, with Kristen Bentley serving as the chairman of the committee. I'd like to invite our secretary, Virgil, to do the roll call.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members. This is your chance to correct pronunciation. So if you don't like how I say your name, do it now so I remember. Okay. State Chairman, Abraham George. Vice Chair, Dorinda Randall. Secretary, Virgil Cruz, I'm here. General Counsel, Rachel Hooper. Parliamentarian, Stephen Bolin. And do I understand we have a Sergeant at Arms? Heath Bell, Sergeant at Arms. National Committeeman, Dr. Robin Armstrong. National Committeewoman, Debbie Georgatos. Kristen Bentley. Paul Anthony Hale. Jerry Fisher. Bruce Bishop. By Donna Carter, correct. Rhonda Ward, Daniel Hunt, Gwen Withrow, Dale Inman, Susan Lucas, Jeremy Story, Don McDonald, Scott Bowen, Deborah Feit, Ralph Feit, Maggie Witt, represented by Barbara Isaacs. Okay, we'll call her here by proxy. Jim Pickle, Ann Gebhardt, Dan Tully, Susan Valiant. Okay, and Matt Tiskus has proxy to Susan Valiant, so we're going to call him here and here by proxy, respectively. Galen Devine, Ken Moore, Lisa Hendrickson, David Wiley, Dr. Melinda Morris, Dale Gibble, Christiana Keeler, Gregory Murphy, Greg, Brenda Estes, Rolando Garcia, Susan Fountain, Matt Patrick, Becky Green, Roman Klein, Cheryl Thompson Draper, Saki Joseph, Kelly Perry, represented by Yvonne Klauser, Walter West, Melissa Nur, and Chuck, you're still here, right? Until you're not. Tony Trevino, Randy Perham, Leslie Thomas, John Carr, Elaine Cook, Ed Zenner, Mary Jane Avery, Andy Eller, Lucy Traynor, Michael Wheeler, Karen Marshall, Kiko Canseco, Janera Lewis, Royce. The things we overlook in this body on day one. Royce Albrecht, Jane Cancino, Steve Evans, Robin Cooper, Adolfo Tellez, Rachel Horton, Patrick Wamhoff, Tisha Crow, Brandon Hodges. So if anybody does come in, we'll make them official when they come in. If you would just send them to me, so that's the typical thing. If somebody's not here, look out for your counterparts, and if somebody's late, come and send them to me so that I can record the time that they're present. That's all I've got for now. So, Mr. Chair, you do have a quorum.
Thank you, Virgil. I now call upon Kristen Bentley to report on the findings of the proxy committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, members. We reviewed the proxies and found them in order, and there are 4 of them currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. A quorum is here, so I am calling this meeting to order. So the first session is elections and appointments of officials committee and our committees. Before that, I would like to take a few minutes, couple of minutes, maybe a little more, to give you guys a little bit of an update on what's happening, what's been happening in the last month and a half, 2 months since we got elected. I won't be here tomorrow. I may be here, but Robin Armstrong, our committee man, is going to run the meeting tomorrow. My mom's funeral is tomorrow, and I didn't want to start the meeting, then hand it over and make a mess, so I figured it's better for him to start the meeting and have a flow. I will leave around noonish today, flying back to have the memorial service, but we'll come back to all of that. Wanted to talk to you guys about a couple of things. When Brenda and I ran, when we had about many things, and some of the things I wanted to kind of give you an update. One of the major things that's happening now is our election. So there are a few things that we talked about. One is giving proper training to our volunteers, our precinct chairs, county chairs. We've been working on a Texas GOP university. It's an online university that's we're building. The technical side of that is complete as of last week. Basically what it is it's a learning management system where we as the body, as a party, can upload courses like Leadership Institute or Heritage Foundation. It's a very robust system. It doesn't cost us a lot of money. We have some good partners who are willing to donate most of the expenses, and we got to pay some for like hosting and things like that, which is not a lot. Essentially, all of our precinct chair training, all of our county chair training, SREC training, poll watcher, any training that we want to take to the grassroots can be uploaded there. And it is tracked based on usernames. So we will assign usernames and passwords to every grassroots member that we believe needs that training. And it's very controlled, so Democrats are not going to be able to use it. And we will have our org committee handle most of that. Then what we wanted to do is put all of the trainings there within the next 2.5, 3 weeks. James and our staff has been working on converting all of our trainings into PowerPoints to add narration behind it. Basically, you log in and you take the course, and we can take a quiz, we can put exams on it, put all kinds of stuff, just like you take an online course at a university. It's basically the same thing. So many of the universities are using the same system, so it's very robust. At the end of the course, they will get a certificate if we force them to get one, and it's just a perfect system that they don't have to be here or come to Austin or any specific place. This is not going to stop us from actually having in-person training, because people learn different ways, and this is one of the ways to get these resources out to our grassroots really fast. So I just want to give you an update on that. The second thing is I promised when we was campaigning, was regional offices, especially for South Texas. I've been working with Chuck and some of our SREC members in that area, some of the county chairs, to find maybe 2 or 3 locations in South Texas to have regional offices where we can get Trump campaign and Cruz campaign to come in as well along with that. So we will have all the signs, the resources, the training that our people need in that area, because we believe like Adam and many of our candidates have a real good shot in that area in this cycle. So that's another thing. We do need some resources on that, looking for some more money on that. I'm working with some of the donors who have a specific passion for South Texas to come in and fund some of those efforts. And I believe we will have those resources in our hands in the next 2-3 weeks. So just want to give you guys update on that. The last thing is I've been kind of in and out of because I went to a mission trip first and came back home last Sunday before, 2 weeks ago, and went to RNC with many of you, and learned that my mom was admitted to ICU. So I had to go back to India, hoping that because she was on oxygen, and my dad, me and my sister figured don't have the strength to bring her here on oxygen in a flight about 23 hours. So my sister is a nurse, so we got some oxygen concentrators and stuff and went up there, hoping that we will fly back with them. But didn't happen. It got worse, and she passed away last week. I got to bring her body back here home, and she's moved to U.S. in 1996 along with all of us, and her funeral is tomorrow, memorial is today. So sorry if I didn't respond to some of your emails or text messages. I try to do it as much as I can. And I also use an Android, so some of you, so yeah, I'm not moving to an iPhone. Hey, I got some Android people here, so all right. So, I had a text from one of the members asking me about luncheon, and I said, which luncheon? And I responded, and she said, well, can you talk to Jen? And she said, well, Jen's on this thread. I'm like, Jen's not on this thread. And obviously, Jen's on iPhone, and she's on iPhone. I'm not. But thank you for your support, your condolences. Many of you called, some of you visited. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. She had a wonderful life of 71 years. She's been a cancer survivor for about 17 years or 16 years or so, and being a minister, and my dad's a pastor, so she's been a right-hand person for him, and great life. I couldn't ask for anything more. So I really appreciate it. So we're going to start our meeting. Yes, sir. Yeah, sure. I'm open. Appreciate it.
Father, we do just take a moment. We can only imagine what it's like to come and do a new thing here while facing such a significant transition. God, give us mercy today as we interact with our chairman as he goes through this. God, we just pray for your peace over our whole body. Pray for your peace for our chairman, for his family, for his extended family. Pray that you would take this evil of death, which you never created or desired, and take even the most evil thing that's on earth and turn it for good. God, would you bless his family even in the midst of this grieving? Lord, we know you never desired things like this to happen to us. So God, I pray for your peace that passes all human understanding to guard our chairman's mind and heart in Jesus. We pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you all. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Well, first item on the business that we need to populate our officials committee. Per the bylaws, the non-voting members include national committeemen, national committeewomen, the secretary, parliamentarian, treasurer, and the general counsel. So the voting members would be the state chair, the vice chair, two members appointed by the state chair, 5 members elected by this body from this body. So we will go into the election. Now we will elect 5 members. We'll take nominations from the floor. You will vote by a secret ballot for 5 members. A member will need a majority of 64 members to be elected. I will now accept nominations.
Don McDonald, SD6, I rise to nominate Galen Devine from Senate District 11.
Thank you. Do we need a second? We don't need a second, so Galen's name has been placed. Further nominations, yes.
Ann Gebhardt, SD9. I nominate Jim Pickle from SD8.
Thank you. Jim Pickles' name has been placed to the nominations. Any more nominations? Yes.
Leslie Thomas, SD 22. I rise to nominate Jerry Fisher, SD 2.
Jerry Fisher's name has been placed into the nominations. There's a line. Should I go back and forth? Yes, from there.
Susan Fountain, SD 16. I'd like to nominate Matthew Patrick for the Officials Committee.
Matthew Patrick's name has been placed into the nominations. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Galen Devine, SD 11. I nominate Steve Evans from SD 28.
28.
From Lubbock.
From
yeah.
Lubbock.
From there you go. But SD 28.
Steve Evans' name is placed into the nominations. Yes, ma'am.
Yvonne Klauser, proxy SD 19 for Kelly Perry. I'd like to nominate Walter West for Officials Committee, SD 19.
Walter West, his name has been placed into the nominations. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Mary Jane Avery, SD 24, and I'm happy to nominate Andy Eller, SD 24.
Andy Eller's name has been placed into the nominations. Got it? Yes, ma'am.
Rhonda Ward, SD3. I would like to nominate Karen Marshall.
Karen Marshall's name has been placed into nominations. Yes, ma'am.
Tony Trevino, SD21. I'd like to nominate John Carr from SD22.
John Carr from SD22 is placed into nominations. Got it? I'm not writing. We're good, right? Okay. All right.
Pico Canseco, SD 26.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Mike Wheeler from SD 25.
Yes, sir. Mike Wheeler's name is placed into the nominations.
Scott Bowen, SD6. I would like to nominate Deborah Kelting Fight, SD7.
Deborah Fight's name is placed into the nominations. Any more nominations? Go one more.
Gwen Withrow, Senate District 4. I'd like to nominate Dale Inman, Senate District 4.
Dale Illman's name has been placed into the nominations. Any more nominations? Seeing none, we're going to have speeches. Hold on. I'm going to close the nominations. We'll now elect 5 members. I'm trying to find how many minutes is it. I'm thinking it's 5 minutes, right? All right. 5-minute speeches. We'll put your names in a basket. You will come and draw your names for the speaking order. Then we will go from there. Give me a second. How many names? Okay. You got 12 names and 10 ping bao. I'm assuming nobody wants to withdraw, right? All right, so we're going to go for it. Gwen, since Dale's not here, you're going to pick for him, since you nominated him. And probably speak for him or find someone to speak for him. Right.
Yeah, I could just write it there in pencil.
So while they're doing that, I wanted to mention tomorrow's lunch is sponsored by Dr. Tom Oliverson. Um, all of you know him. He's a speaker candidate. So he'll be here. Matt? Yeah. He'll be here either today or tomorrow. Spend a few minutes with y'all. One other thing I want to mention, kind of trying to use the time as provisionally as possible. Karen Marshall, where is she? Thought she was, yeah. She picked up a bunch of signs from National Convention. So we're going to all hold one and take a picture. Sometime today, hopefully around noonish, so just remember that. She got 64 of them. She hauled it all the way from Milwaukee to home, with all the American Airlines going crazy. So.
Number 6. And Gwen for Dale. Pick the one that's there. Number 12.
All right, we have the speaking order. Give us a minute. We'll get started. We're starting with who? John Carr, you're number 1. Come on up.
Well, good morning again, everyone. I will be very quick. For those of y'all who don't know me, my first name, John, has no H, and my last name, Carr, has no A. It's K-E-R and pronounced Carr. So at any rate, just so for those of y'all who don't know me, I am a practicing attorney in Waco, but I'm also a retired Green Beret colonel, having fought in combat in 2 wars. And I am honored to be a part of this body. I was on the officials committee last time, and I'd love to be so again. I do believe I bring some correct thought to the officials committee and to this body itself, and would ask for your vote. I tell people that there are 3 letters that you can describe me by: C, C, and C. I am a Christian who tries his best to fulfill Romans 8:28, to be conformed to the image of Christ in all that we do and say. I am a constitutionalist. I believe in the original Constitution as it is written, and not as some of our judges try to mold it into something different. I am a conservative. In fact, I am a very conservative man. Thank you very much. I appreciate your vote.
Karen?
For those of you I have not gotten to meet yet, I'm Karen Marshall. I'm from SD 26. The Alamo is in my district. And I don't go along to get along. But I also don't pipe up just to hear the sound of my own voice. I've been to every SREC meeting since August of 2016, although will be my 2nd term on the SREC. And I'm looking to have the party serve all areas of Texas rather than concentration on 1 or 2 hotspots. And I'd like to steer our party back to being first and foremost about winning elections, operating strategically to be more competitive to beat the progressive Democrats, and the rest follows. But that's our number one job. If you believe I can help our party in this capacity, then I am humbly willing to serve. Thank you very much. And I'll grant you time.
Walter West, come on up, sir.
Thank you very much, one, for being here with your service. I've been here with the RPT since 2018 on and off. This will be my third term. I've got a 1/2 term in there. I come here wanting to be a contributing member on the officials committee for the sole purpose we do need to get back into winning elections, not just elections, but areas of the state, taking back territory. I had a very good mentor back in 2018 that I served with, and in 2019 she passed away. Her name's Debbie Terry. Jill Glover took over her seat, and now we have Lisa Hendrickson. When Jill passed away, she left us a baton. Everybody in the SREC got one, so if you were here then, you've probably got yours. Mine's a little dented and dinged. It sits in my truck. I travel about 70,000 miles a year in the state of Texas. There's not a county I haven't been in, and I can definitely show Beto O'Rourke a couple places that he missed. There's a lot of folks out there that aren't voting Republican because they don't know what we're about. They're not getting the message. They're not getting included. We're only fixated on the big cities. I cover 60% of the voting population of Bexar County now. I have half of West Texas. We need a stronger party that's going to actually come in and look at who we have, who's contributing, and who we're bringing in. Need to get off the name calling. Need to support our chairman, our vice chairman, the different committees. And it's time we actually start enforcing the rules. We have clear transparency within the party, so the public has no question. I go to the State House often, and we're not the most liked individuals there. And that's fine by me. Trust me, I've thrown a couple torches. At the end of the day, 2024 is almost here. It's almost over. 2026, that's where we grow our party, the gubernatorial race. We get behind our governor candidate and we build the party. Legally, that's where the numbers are, and that's how we get a higher delegate strength, and that's how we get higher involvement. This is what we need, and we need to make sure the business, as usual, is moving forward and not as usual. We don't need to stagnate. We need to roll forward. We need Donald Trump back in office, and we need a solid conservative Senate and House. We take the victories that we have, we run with them. The losses, we learn from them, we roll forward. We roll over the enemy, because that's the only thing standing between Texas and America is my Rio Grande reality. And we've seen it become a martyr in our history. It's time we take our history back. Thank you.
Steve Evans.
Good morning, members. I'm Steve Evans, representing Senate District 28. I flew straight here from Louisville, Kentucky with a week-long VFW National Convention, and I'm absolutely speeched out. I've heard so many speeches, and also in that organization, to obtain the floor, you have to salute the chair, and you'll catch me doing that here because it's just habits are hard to break, so that's what it is. So most people know what the SREC and what the Officials Committee is. Just in case you don't, the SREC exists to carry out the will of the delegation. That's our job. The delegates are the most powerful. The grassroots members are the most powerful entity in our party, and we're here to carry out their will in between their conventions. That's literally why we exist. The Officials Committee is a small subset of that organization that takes care of more finite things in a much quicker way. It takes care of contracts, it takes care of litigation, some salaries and things like that that need to be handled fast and done in a committee that would be difficult to bring to the full body. That's literally what the job is. This is my third term on the SREC, and I'm seeking my second term on the officials committee. And in addition to being a professional registered parliamentarian, I've been honored to chair the rules committee for the last 2 bienniums until Jim Pickle stole my seat. I haven't forgiven him for it yet. I don't know that I will. In my day job, I manage the Western Division of a large industrial manufacturing company. Now, everyone's going to come up here, and I don't want to discredit any speech that's happening, but everyone's going to come up here and tell you about their experience and their education and their careers, and all of that's important. But honestly, members, every single one of you is eligible to run for this committee. And if you've got some experience and understanding about how our party works, you're absolutely qualified. We're all qualified to take care of this. This is just a smaller committee elected by you to handle this business quickly in these important functions, and that's really what it's about. So I appreciate your vote for a second term on officials committee. I hope we have a great weekend. Thank you.
Mike Wheeler, come on up, sir. Deborah, you're up after.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Wheeler, SD25, and I am thrilled as heck to be here this morning. Thank you all for how well you've welcomed me in the last couple of days. I'm also, I just want to give you a bit of my background and why I think I'm qualified for the officials committee and what I want to bring to the officials committee. I'm also the chair of the Kendall County Republican Party, and I couldn't be prouder of what we've done in Kendall County. And I think the reason why we're successful is because we listen to each other. We don't agree on everything. We are split, but we do listen to each other. And I believe that every true Republican deserves to be listened to. I'm the kind of person that I may believe X on a subject, but I will give you the opportunity to speak to me, and I will honestly say that you can change my mind. I will listen to that. I also want to take a page from the greatest president in my lifetime, Donald Trump, who says that, how are we going to unite the country, right? What does he say? I say, how are we going to unite our party, right? It's going to be through success, okay? That is how it's going to happen. I'm here with no preconceived notions. I want to help our chairman and vice chairman and this body succeed. I think that will bleed down into the rest of our party. Success will bring us back together. That's what I believe. Just a real quick about my background. I started out as an accountant. It was too boring for me, so I went back got my grad degree at University of Michigan, go Blue, and I became a corporate bond trader. And in the last 12 years of my career, I was the head of high yield trading in Europe for Morgan Stanley and Bank of America. For those of you who don't know what a high yield trader does, the bank gives them money. I form a team. We analyze businesses. We analyze companies. We analyze their strategy. We invest, and hopefully we win and we make money. It's everything you do is a cost-benefit analysis. That's everything I look at, and unfortunately, that's how I run my life. Everything is cost-benefit. So that's how I would operate on the officials committee as well. I moved home. I retired from that business about 5+ years ago and moved to Texas, found a heaven in the hill country, started a small real estate investment firm, and now I've started a property management business that my wife runs while I do my passion, which is this. I have talked to some people, and I so believe that there needs to be experience on this officials committee. I totally agree with that, but I also think that it's very important to have some fresh faces on it that maybe brings a new perspective, maybe looks at something a bit differently. So that's what I'd like to bring to the officials committee. Again, my strength is finance, and I also, it's gonna sound crazy, I really enjoy raising money. It's one of my fun things. My son was diagnosed with cancer when he was a young child, and we raised $700,000 for pediatric cancer. I've raised money for investments. I've raised money for my real estate business. So it's a passion of mine. I love to do it, and I hope to help do that here. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Deborah Fight, and I represent SD7, and I am in my third term and running for my second term on the Officials Committee. So I would like to go with a little bit of my background, why I think I have the qualifications to serve the party on the Officials Committee. In 1987, I formed an insurance business, Kelting Insurance Services. It later became a full-line agency, Partners Wealth Management Group, and the firm specializes in employee benefits, retirement planning, estate tax planning, business succession, and then during the 37 years in business, I have contracted with over 60 companies. And this entails reviewing complex insurance contracts, and that is one of the roles of the Officials Committee. So it was actually my business that got me involved in politics. When Obama came along with the Affordable Care Act, he was raining on my parade. So we could stop this by killing her husband's Xerox machine waist high, flying to the Capitol, and releasing the Affordable Care Act over the U.S. Capitol. Did not work. That was the rebel in me. I'm a fighter. So I came home and said, okay, I can get this done. So I hosted a talk radio show on everything you wish you did not know about Obamacare, and it covered all of Texas, Louisiana, and half of Oklahoma. So how does this relate to the Officials Committee? There's probably not a more complex contract than the Affordable Care Act. So backing up a little bit to go through my further involvement that I feel helps my qualifications. Catherine and I founded True the Vote, and it is a citizen-led group. And so in our humble beginnings, we headquartered in a low-rent strip center between a smoke and toke and tattoo parlor. So with perseverance and determination, True the Vote grew into a national organization seeking to restore honor and integrity into our electoral process. I was chosen to serve on the board of directors. In that role, I was directly involved in setting policy and direction for the organization during a very difficult time. We became the target of Obama's IRS under Lois Lerner. In fact, we sued Lois Lerner and later won, but back then there was a long line of Democrats suing us. So why does this matter for an SREC member serving on the Officials Committee? Because the Officials Committee is effectively the board of directors of the Republican Party of Texas. And I have actually already had experience as a board member of an organization under constant attack by political entities and on a national level. The Officials Committee helps set policy, governance, and guidelines by which the RPT operates. With my previous trial by fire on the board of an organization in the middle of a political tempest, I have not had a steep learning curve to serve on the Officials Committee. I humbly request that you consider me for re-election. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Next person is Patrick, and after that is Galen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Patrick, and I'm in Senate District 16, which is North Dallas. You know, this group is full of thieves. Jim stole Steve's seat. Steve stole my speech. I mean, you just can't trust these people. So as Steve pointed out, and I pointed out last time, just to remind you, everybody here could do this job, but what this job really is about is helping the chair and the vice chair and the party make business decisions in between meetings. So we all have our political experience, but for this job, really, business experience is more helpful. So what business experience do I have? Well, I started out in baby banking when I was working my way through college. I went to the University of Texas, and I had so much fun at the University of Texas that I graduated from the University of Houston. And I went on to get my MBA from SMU. But my background is business and finance. I was in international banking for 2 different international banks, one English, one Japanese, for a decade. I was a stockbroker for a year, kind of in the middle of that. And I got bored with international banking and went to work as treasurer for a Fortune 500 company that was one of my customers in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we took them through a bankruptcy, did a turnaround. So I did a lot of mergers and, well, a lot of divestitures, not so much acquisitions. And so I've negotiated contracts on real estate and assets and everything else. Being in banking and being then on the corporate side, I've torn budgets apart. I've put them together. Went from that position to be chief financial officer, corporate secretary, and on the board of directors for a smaller publicly traded company. So I know my way around banking. I know my way around numbers. I know my way around finance. I know my way around contracts, real estate, communication. I've written SEC documents and I've written press releases. So I sort of know about most of the things that we're going to be dealing with on officials. So I was on officials last time. I didn't run my first time. This is my 3rd term on SREC. I didn't think that since I didn't know the body and how it worked very well, I didn't want to run as a freshman. So I ran last time and was put on the officials committee, and I want to do it again. And it's right. What we deal with mostly is the budget. Any contracts that come up, there's certain things that have to come through officials. If you read the rules, it'll tell you what we have to do. And then also vetting people who are going to be having booths at convention next time around. So those are sort of the big jobs. I've done it before. It's something that fits in my wheelhouse. So I would ask you to vote for me for another term. Thank you.
I'm shorter than him, so good morning. This is absolutely my least favorite part, having to come up here and do this. So I am Galen Devine. I'm from Senate District 11, and for those of you that don't know, I was your convention planning chair for the last convention in San Antonio. I could not have done what we did without David Wiley and Steve Evans. So this is my 2nd term on the SREC, and I've had some people tell me that like I asked for that convention committee last time. So to clear the record, Chairman Rinaldi called me when I was at my Republican Club meeting and said, "Hey, I just want to give you a heads up. I shouldn't have taken his call." So, warning to you. So he called and he said, "Hey, I just want to give you a heads up before it goes out. I've appointed you chair of the convention committee." I was like, "Excuse me, you have the wrong number." He said, "No, I have the right number. You are going to be the chair of the convention planning." It's like, "Do I get a vote? Like, do I get to ask you any questions? Who's on the committee?" He was like, "We will talk about that later. Just wanted you to know before it went out. Thanks, bye." I go back into my meeting. People are looking at me like, "Did someone die? Like, you're pale?" I was like, "They might as well have." So I tell you that because I was the first term, and Scott and I got to hear this a lot, like, "You're on the first term of your SREC and you're planning the convention." I was like, "Yes, you can pray for me anytime my name comes to your heart." So, but this term is different. Like, I've served, I feel like I've worked with a lot of you, and I have a different perspective after serving a full term. After doing the convention, I think people have a vision of what they think we do before they actually serve and learn the job and do what we do. Till you're in those seats, making those votes, listening to resolutions, or until someone wants a booth and you have to tell them no because it doesn't meet our principles. So I prayed a lot about running for officials because we are all uniquely qualified to represent our Senate districts. We were elected to serve those Senate districts. And as a small business owner, and after serving on the convention, I hope to bring a unique perspective of bringing us back to grassroots, bringing us back to those rules that the delegates fight for and vote for at convention. I really want to see us focus on what the delegates want us to do, what their voice is in between conventions. When I ran the first time, that was my goal, was to serve my Senate district, to represent those delegates in between the convention. And that is what I promised to do, and that is what I promise y'all. If you elect me to serve on officials, it's another committee, but it's my commitment to y'all that we will support the chair and we will support the vice chair, and we will have the best session. We will bring people back to the party because we will be doing what they want done, what they elected us to do, what they expect us to do, and they can't do on their own in between conventions. I humbly ask for your support and your vote so that I can continue to serve just in a new capacity. Thank you.
Andy Eller and Jerry Fisher, you're up now.
Let me move this up a little bit. Okay, so my name's Andy Eller, and I'm from Senate District 24, and a lot has been said that I was basically going to say. So I'm going to say same thing Matt said, same thing Steve said, but I do have a few things to add. I do have a very unique perspective. I am a businessman. I have a degree in chemical engineering. I have a master's in business, and I've been at the same company for 37 years, working extensively in the quality field, and I have served on in this body the Election Integrity Committee as vice chair and then chair, and now vice chair again, which I'm pretty okay with that because I think that's really where I belong, is in the vice chair role. But I also believe I belong on the officials committee because I lend this unique perspective from my business experience. And that is, I do a lot of international business with companies all over the world, 2 companies in South Africa. Let's see, I have a couple of in India. I have 4 in Thailand, as well as Costa Rica and Panama. I also work with companies in Canada, and as well as all over Latin America and the Middle East. So I have that experience working with them and working with the contracts that we come through with. Now, those parts of the contracts that I look at are the quality pieces, but I believe I understand how to look at contracts and understand them because that is what the officials committee works on. Also doing the business of the party in between meetings. And I've shown that with what we did with the elections committee. Last time we basically met every Saturday morning for 2 to 3 hours during the entire session, bringing up bills, looking at bills, deciding what we wanted to work on in this, with the legislators, what we needed to testify for, testify against. So there was a lot of work in that. And then also, I've been on the board of a privately held software company that does quality software, working with them. So I am familiar with what it takes to be on a private company board. And then I'm also familiar with what it takes to be on a nonprofit board. I've been on a nonprofit board in years past, working with them and looking at contracts, the finances, doing the budgets, especially on the nonprofits. So I believe I have that unique experience that I can bring to everybody in this area. So my name again is Andy Eller, and I'm asking for your vote.
Jerry, you're up. I'm going to do this before she gets here.
Hey, y'all, I'm Leslie Thomas, and I asked Jerry if I could do a quick introduction. The officials committee, you kind of want a good group of people that have, and it needs to be well-rounded. You need someone who knows contracts, who has a legal background, who knows finance, can read numbers, figure that out. But you also need that grassroots voice on the committee, that person who has that heart. And so I'd like to introduce you my friend, Jerry Fisher. She is the heart of the grassroots. She's very connected to our heart and soul of the party. This will be her final term as SREC. If elected, this will be her second time on officials committee. And she has served on the resolutions committee 3 times, one time as chair, and she was chair of partnership, which she radically changed and brought a lot of voices in, and they were able to fully, well, I wouldn't say fully, because there's a lot of work still to be done, but she got them on the road to, yeah, what he said. So anyway, here's my friend, the great grassroots champion, Jerry Fisher. Yeah.
There she is.
There you go. Okay. Thank you. I've got my stool back. Jerry Fisher from SD2. And before I get started, I want to tell y'all how proud I was to be a Texan at the National Convention. Y'all, if you didn't see us, the cowboy hats, we even rehearsed this. Okay? We were serious. Yes, Dr. Armstrong made us rehearse that. But okay, Leslie, I'm done. Okay, over 6 years, I never missed an SREC meeting. I did serve on all those other committees. One thing that we really need to stress is this Democrat chair thing. And we were so proud. We worked hard in my district. I'm not going to name who we got rid of, but we got rid of him. And, the camera's on me. We got rid of it, and we have a new conservative. So it can be done, y'all. It can be done. And we've got to keep flipping more of those rhinos. So that's my SREC speech. I retired after 44 years of being a speech therapist. I am still, and I've been working, I'm a Special Olympic coach for the last 30, 40 years. And I'm JJ to 10 Republican grandkids. And so, seriously, they are. I mean, they work harder than I do. That's pretty good. So I'm just asking for your vote for re-election, and thank y'all so much for being here and being willing to serve with all of us. Unity is the name of the game, and we've got to unify, and it can be done to get rid of some of these rhinos. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Jim Pickle and Dale will be represented by Gwen.
Well, I see my reputation precedes me. My name is Jim Pickle. I represent SD8, which is Collin County, Hunt, and Rains County in North Texas, north of Dallas. This is my beginning of my 2.5 term on the SREC. I was vice chair of the Rules Committee last time. I'm chair of the Rules Committee this time, and looking forward to working with all of you. I will tell you just a little bit of background about my experience with the SREC. I've been in politics now. I'm a 22R voter, which means I voted in the last 22 Republican primaries. Been a candidate, been an election judge, worked with, given hundreds of thousands of dollars to candidates. Don't hold your hand out, okay? So I'm very involved in politics, and I know a lot of politicians, and I know a lot of people that are in politics. And when I first got to the SREC 2.5 years ago, I was amazed by the quality of the people in this body. I mean, it was stunning to me that there were people like you in the Republican Party. I mean, I get goosebumps. And as I stand here, I still have them. And the new people we have coming on, you guys are just making it just as good or better. I mean, we have the most amazing group of people here. It is unbelievable. And a couple of people said this. I think Steve said it best. Stole this committee from him. Steve said it best, is that anybody in this room with all of our backgrounds and history can do this job. We can. And somebody else said we need a little bit of diversity on the committee. I mean, we need some finance guys, we need some legal guys, we need some grassroots people, because the officials committee is sort of a mini SREC. I mean, it's, the SREC is really the board of directors for the Republican Party. This is sort of the board of directors when the big board isn't meeting. So they do the day-to-day stuff between meetings. I just brought the bylaws up here. It says that, what the officials committee does is it assumes responsibility for transaction business necessary between meetings. Okay, somebody's already said that. Prepares the budget, ratifies written contracts, including for 1099 contractors and employees and consultants and the staff, negotiates and ratifies contracts concerning compensation for the chairman, if any, and it considers approval of the RPT's involvement we don't get to pick if we're a defendant in a lawsuit, but the officials committee decides if we're going to actually file the lawsuit. And a lot of you that have been on here for a while know that I'm the guy who got Rule 46 through the SREC for closed primaries. That's going to require a lawsuit, probably, although maybe the legislature will come through. You never know. But my background, what I bring to the committee, what I would bring to the officials committee, I've never been on it before, is a legal background. I've been a lawyer for 38 years. I've filed 10 petitions for certiorari at the U.S. Supreme Court. I've got 50 appeals. I've been lead counsel in 500 lawsuits, mostly commercial litigation. I also do civil rights litigation, which means I sue the government all the time, so I know how they think. I've had a very successful legal career. And I'm about at the end of my legal career, and I'm going to try to start pouring more of my time into my political career, as I call it, as opposed to my legal career, because I got all the money I need. Now I want to give back. I want to be part of a group that, like I say, gives me goosebumps to be a part of. And if this body feels like my background and my credentials would help the officials committee do a better job, then I'm all in. Thank you.
Well, I am not Dale Inman, but Dale Inman is my partner. And this is the very first meeting that I ever, in 2 years, this is his second term, that I remember that he was late and didn't show up. And I have been watching that door, and I kept thinking, well, he's gonna come in, but he didn't, so here I am. I'm going to speak for my partner, who I really consider a lot. I really like him a lot. And he is a pastor, which I think is important for us all to have. I really like it because I thought I was going to get to sit between two pastors, but I didn't quite get that spot yet. Anyway, he is a pastor. He's from Montgomery County. He pastors in his spare time when he's not at his church at the local prison. And he also ministers to troubled youth. Like I say, this is his second term in the SREC. I don't think he missed another meeting. I don't remember him ever being late. He's very involved in Montgomery County politics. He supports the grassroots of the party. One of his claim to fame in Montgomery County is he stood up against the drag queen story hour and got it removed that they were giving for preschool children in Montgomery County. So that really made me admire him for making that stand. He is very conservative, and he is pro-life, pro-family. He is a strong candidate who wants to build unity. I was on the officials committee last time, and when he told me that he wanted to run, I decided not to run so that you wouldn't have two coming in from Senate District 4. That's how much I think of my partner, Dale. And he would really appreciate your vote. He is a problem solver and will support the chair and the vice chair, and I really hope that you will consider voting for Dale Inman. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to point out every single one of them said they will support the chair. So it's a promise. It's on record. Just want to make sure it's, and the vice chair, yes, it's on record. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. So ballots will be passed out. Thank you for taking the time. Yes, ma'am? No, we're good? Yes, Sergeant? We're good. I need 2 tellers. So now Paul, can you be a teller? I'm trying to find people who's not running. Yes, ma'am. Can you be a teller as well?
Point of information.
Yes, sir.
David Wiley, SD 12. I see the phrase election round 1 on the board. Could you please explain the method of voting and determining the results of the vote?
Yes, so you have the ballots. You will put 5 names on the ballot, your choices. Legibly, yes. And only the people who are running. And anyone who has 50% or majority will be elected. And if we go into a place where we need runoff, we will have next round. So with 12 people, I'm assuming that's going to happen. But so 5 people, pick your 5 people, put it on ballot, and it will take a little bit of time to count, but that's okay. We got time. Elaine, would you please? I'm going to add one more person. Ed, would you? Because we got 12 people, and so I have three members as tellers. That's Paul, Elaine, and Ed. So while we count, each nominee, either yourself or appoint someone to come and watch the ballots, so no confusions later. 5 names on the ballot. Everyone has a ballot? Thank you. Okay. 63 live ballots. Proxy committee approved 1 more proxy, so 63 live ballots. Keep 1 back, yeah. Should be. Sorry, ma'am. Yeah, fold it, please. Yeah. So everyone has a ballot? Who needs a ballot if you raise your hand? Okay. Tellers, please collect the ballot. Okay, take your time. Sorry. I do have a ballot.
Point of information,
Yes, ma'am.
Elaine Cook, SD 23. If you put on more than 5 names, does that
Please don't
spoil
put
the
more
whole
than.
ballot?
It will void the whole ballot because we don't know which one is which. Yeah, it's not ranked choice. Put 5 names. You need majority. We're not Democrats. We're not playing games. All right. While they're counting the ballot, we have our representative, Tom Oliverson, who is also our sponsor for tomorrow's lunch. Please come up, sir. Take it.
Well, good morning, friends. How are y'all? All right. Yeah. So let me begin by just saying how grateful I am to be able to be here before you today. And I hope that this is not the last time that I have an opportunity to address you. And hopefully the next time that I come here to address you will be as Speaker of the Texas House. Thank you. And I also wanted to tell you how grateful I am to each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy lives to come here for days on end, 3 days, 2 days, and have these meetings and be part of a process that actually helps keep our party pointed in a conservative direction, keeps our party pointed in a direction that helps keep our state in Republican hands. One of the things that we hear sometimes in the Texas House is, well, you know, we have to work with the Democrats, otherwise Texas will turn blue. And what I believe, and what some of my other colleagues and statewide elected officials believe, is the fastest way to turn Texas blue is for Republicans to stop acting like Republicans when they're elected to serve the Texas House. So, all right. So I have a little thing I wanted to talk to you about today, and I think it's maybe a good icebreaker, a sort of first conversation for us to have together as a group, and that has to do with how the House Republican Caucus chooses a speaker candidate. You've probably heard the term endorsed speaker candidate. You may have even heard me speak about the caucus process and why that's important. But what I thought would be really good as maybe, 10, 15 minute kind of little conversation here is let me walk you through that process, because I want each and every one of you to understand exactly how that process works, so that when your member back home comes and talks to you about that process or what they did or didn't do, that you have a firm grasp not only on what they're saying, but also how that process actually is supposed to work in reality, so that we can sort of cut through any questions of like, well, the caucus said, X, Y, Z, whatever, so, I just did that, and that's my excuse for why I did what I did. I want you to know what the rules are. So if you'll bear with me for a few minutes. Oh, and by the way, I'm also the caucus chair right now. I didn't ask for that job. I was the vice chair, but after I filed for speaker, they decided perhaps the way to get rid of me was to promote me to caucus chair, and boy, were they wrong. So one of the things the caucus is doing right now on behalf of the people of Texas and giving the members a chance to have some ownership, some buy-in, and really, I believe very strongly that the caucus should be stronger and the speaker should be weaker. I think the caucus should lead because the caucus is composed of the members that you elected. It's not one person. Right now, it's 86 people. And whatever they collectively decide, that's what we should be working on. That's what we should be focused on. So we created some caucus subcommittees to study some issues. The first one is how we can fix this abysmally complicated and hopelessly biased against Republicans parliamentary process that we have in the Texas House, which I experienced firsthand carrying your platform priority, SB 14, getting rid of mutilating of children's gender. And I fell victim to this, and I saw this. So I said, let's create a subcommittee of caucus members, and I put all of our really smart attorneys that understand the rules really well together on a subcommittee, and they've gone out and polled the members. And so when we come back for our meeting in October, our caucus meeting, we will have a report from that committee, and we will be able to present that to whoever the next speaker is and say, Mr. Speaker or Madam Speaker, whoever the speaker is, hopefully it's me, it'll be easier. These are the changes the caucus wants to make to the parliamentary process. Please adopt them. Let's go. Second thing we did is we created a subcommittee that essentially allows the caucus to come up with some priorities that the caucus thinks legislatively. These are issues. These are hot button issues. We have 8 priorities right now. They're the priorities that you gave us. If I'm elected speaker, those are the top 8 things that we do. But there may be other things that didn't, you start with a list, right? And then you got to narrow it down to 8. How many of you had one that you wished made that list and it just didn't quite get there? The caucus is going to have an opportunity to come up with its own list. And I've told them 100% certainty, I said, do not create a priority that steps on, replaces, or waters down an RPT priority. But do, by all means, look at the list of priorities that they had that didn't quite make the top 8 and see if any of those look like things that you would like to have. And so the caucus will have its own priorities. We will vote on a list just like we do in our party. We'll have a list of 12 or 15, and we'll pick the top 4 or 5, and those will be the caucus priorities. And we'll hand those to the next speaker, and we'll say, Mr. Speaker or Madam Speaker, the caucus says these are the important things that they want to work on in addition to the party. And so that's how I want to do it. All right, so speaker candidate, let's get to what we were going to talk about today. So you can find the actual procedure for this in Article 9 of the Texas House Republican Caucus bylaws. That's where it is. The process itself is relatively new. We actually adopted it after the 2017 legislative session, and its immediate effect was so profound that it caused the current Speaker of the House, Joe Straus, and we all know how Joe Straus got to be Speaker, right? It wasn't because all the Republicans voted for him. It was because all the Democrats and a handful of Republicans voted for him. He resigned right after this became clear that this was how it was going to be moving forward, because he knew that his pathway to victory as Speaker was destroyed. If the caucus actually does what the caucus is supposed to do, the Democrats can't pick the next Speaker, only the Republicans can, because we're in the majority. So the major goal, in fact, was to prevent a handful of liberal Republicans. And we all know who they are, right? Or we did at that time. How many of you know who the liberal rural Republicans were in 2017? They were the chairs and all the people. We used to call them the Cardinals, and they would be they run around like the bully kids, picking the rest of us up and putting us upside down in trash cans and stuff like that. I actually remember voting no on a bill that I thought was a liberal bill, and I had who was a chairman at the time from North Texas. I hear this voice behind me, and he says, Oliverson, I noticed you weren't on the team on that last vote. Just want you to know that the speaker's watching. That's how it was, right? We didn't want that anymore, and so we put this process in place to prevent that. So it only takes 76 votes on the House floor. That is the process for electing a speaker. To be clear, whatever the caucus does is important, but the vote that matters is the vote on the first day. And it's a simple majority. You need 75 friends to agree with you. And it doesn't matter how progressive or how conservative they are. If you have 75 friends, you're the next speaker. So we wanted to prevent the Democrats from being part of that process as much as possible because we're the majority, and we felt like the Republicans as the majority should be the ones to pick the next speaker. And I think very much in keeping with what you would desire for us as well. And so that was sort of the number one goal, but there were other important goals. So as I said here on the slide, we wanted to give the caucus a chance to unite as a caucus of Republicans, as a majority, to lead as a conservative majority and pick one of their own to represent and to lead the chamber. That sounds good, right? We wanted to create a process that was a bit more democratic and conducted in a caucus meeting where everybody had a vote, instead of what the Democrats have done by nominating Kamala Harris, where there is no process. It's essentially, you know, somebody just has a press conference and parachutes in and says, the speaker's race is over, I'm the new speaker, haha. Whereas 2 weeks ago, they were saying, well, I'm not running for speaker. That did happen, actually. Some of you know what I'm talking about. We also wanted to minimize the influence that an individual candidate could have on a member's vote. So you'll hear me talk about how this is a secret ballot and why that's important, but I want you to understand the main reason why it's a secret ballot is because if it's secret, the winner can't reward you and can't punish you either. You're truly free to do what you think is right and to represent your district in that caucus vote. And whoever the winner is or whoever the loser is doesn't actually know how you voted. So we have secret ballots, or really we're supposed to have secret ballots, right? When we go to the polling booth in November, and so we wanted this process to be like that. We also wanted to make sure that the next speaker of the Texas House is somebody whose allegiance was to members of their own party, not to a coalition of Republicans and Democrats, which is, so, timing. So this is directly from the bylaws itself. So just so you know, there's a process that's laid out very specifically. The selection of the endorsed speaker candidate occurs at a called caucus meeting. So the caucus chair calls a meeting, has to give at least 10 days advance warning of the time and place of the meeting. And it has to occur during the month of December every even year. So in other words, it's after the November election, after the votes are canvassed. So why is that important? Well, because you want all the former members gone, and you want all the new members in, right? Right. All right. So that makes sure that, because we have a new caucus at that point, and we want that caucus, the 89th Texas Legislature Republican caucus, to be the ones voting on who their leader is. Okay. So the process is actually a little complicated, but I'll walk you through it. It's not horrible. It's just there's a little bit of nuance to it. So we have nominations, and any caucus member can be nominated. Now, it's important to keep that in mind because if you were following the shenanigans over the course of the summer and what was going on with some of the drama there, you have to be a member of the caucus in order to be nominated. You can't not be a member of the caucus. You also have to be a member of the caucus to vote. So that's important too. We have nominating speeches, so that's kind of how that goes. And then we have voting by secret ballot. So let's just say you start out with 4 candidates. You'll have a secret ballot. If somebody gets a 2/3 majority on any ballot, then the race is automatically over and that person is the endorsed speaker candidate. So that's, I put the numbers in here for you based on our current, we have 86 Republicans. So that would be 57 out of our 86 Republicans would have to agree on a candidate. If that happens, the race is over. Otherwise, the lowest vote getter gets dropped out and you have another round until you get down to 2 candidates. When you get down to 2 candidates, you go through 2 rounds of voting where you're trying to get to a 2/3 majority. If you can't, then you're allowed 2 final rounds where you drop down to a 3/5 majority. So it's not a bare majority, it's more than a bare majority, but not quite a 2/3 majority, just to see if anybody can get there. That would be 52. So If you're looking for keeping score, how's reform doing, what's the magic number, what do they need to win in caucus, the magic number is 52. Assuming we don't lose any seats in November. If we pick up seats, then that number may go to 53. By the way, the caucus is planning on not only defending their members, but I'm tired of the Democrats attacking my members and us sitting on our hands. So we're going after their people too. The Democrat caucus has attacked our caucus members for the last 3 sessions. And we've just done precious little in retaliation, and I'm tired of that. I'm going to stand up not only for my members, but sometimes, you know, the best defense is to put other people on defense. So we're going to do that. So we've found some races where the margin of error is pretty darn close in South Texas and in North Texas. And if they're going to go after our friends in South Texas and San Antonio and Round Rock, we're going to go after them too. So I just want you to know about that. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that nobody gets 3/5, and you know you've had multiple rounds and nobody can get there. What do you do then? Do you go home? No. The thing about this process that's fascinating is that this process will go on until somebody wins. So it's very much like the papal conclave. Until you see the white smoke, nobody's leaving. And our thought process is like, that might be motivation at some point for people to kind of work through their differences and get on the same page, because you ain't leaving until we figure it out. The other piece of that, which is kind of interesting, is that a lot of our votes and things that we do, particularly things like if we're gonna take disciplinary action against a member, or if we're gonna try to remove an officer or kick someone out of the caucus or any of that kind of, you know, heavy-handed stuff, requires a hard, you know, percent, 2/3, 3/4 majority of the entirety of the caucus. This is a little different. We wanted to address a situation where people may just say, you know what, my guy's not going to win, I'm out of here. I'm just not voting. I'll prevent anyone else from getting 3/5 by walking out the door. So the rules specifically state that it's 3/5 or 2/3 of members present and voting. Now, we do have a quorum requirement. You have to have 50% plus 1 to have the meeting. But once that quorum is established, you can't stop that process by refusing to vote or writing Mickey Mouse on your ballot, or, you know, Barack Obama or Donald Trump or whatever. So we're there until we figure it out. And so if you don't get to a 3/5 majority, then what you do is you basically blow the whole list of names up. Everybody is unnominated, and you go back through an open nominations process, and you try to find a consensus candidate that everybody can agree on. And we'll just keep going through that process till somebody wins. Okay, important features. I talked about the present and voting issue, as opposed to it's not a total requirement. So you can't, what we were worried about when we put this rule into place was that some of sort of the Strauss loyalists at the time may just refuse to show up for the meeting altogether, and thus prevent us from actually getting to any of these thresholds. We said, nah, you know, it's going to be 3/5, 2/3 of people who actually cast a ballot. You can't, you know, white light this, basically. We use the secret ballots. As I said, we wanted members to vote their conscience free from pressure, and we also didn't want anyone to be rewarded or punished for how they voted. All right, so finally, we choose our candidate, and now what? So this is the important part where we need your help. House caucus bylaws require members of the caucus to vote for the endorsed speaker candidate on the House floor, thus ensuring that the caucus choice is the next Speaker of the House. That is how the process is supposed to work. Again, if the Republicans all get together and they pick somebody, and it is a majority of Republicans behind one candidate, then we believe that all Republicans should stand together on the House floor in January for that most important vote and help us get past 76. And that's how, if you've heard me talk about my platform for Speaker, and that's how we get to 76. And that's what I'm looking for, is 76 Republicans to stand behind me. So we win the caucus, and then we go to the floor, we get 76 Republicans. Now, if we have Democrats voting for us after that, fine. I'm not going to tell them they can't vote. You know, they're whatever. But we're working for 76 Republicans first, foremost, and exclusively. That's the group that we're talking to. Our party platform also talks about the endorsed speaker candidate, specifically in Plank 213A, and it calls upon all House Republican members to vote for the endorsed speaker candidate. So not only is that in our bylaws, that's also in our party's platform. Unlike you, we do not have a mechanism in the Texas House bylaws to discipline a member that basically tells the caucus to go pound sand on day one of that process. You have a process by which this body could take action against a member that decided to break with their own caucus and go vote for a candidate endorsed by a Democrat. Now, before I take any questions, let me just answer one right off the bat, and because people ask me this all the time. They said, even with this process in place, is it possible for Dade Phelan or anyone else to get together with a group of liberally minded Republicans, maybe some anti-school choice Republicans, all their own party, their own caucus, publicly, in full view of everyone else? I hope you will join with me in making sure that's their last session ever as an elected official. In fact, if we even think that happens, I hope you'll be prepared to come together as a group and start talking about censure before we even get off the floor that day. Because that would be a total betrayal of our party, of our platform, of our caucus, and of the friendships within the building amongst colleagues. And that, I think, would be very deserving of a censure. What questions do you have? Yes, ma'am.
Susan Valiant,
Hi, Susan.
SD10. Hi. And I was wanting to know if my representative, Tony Tinderholt, is going to be a part of the caucus.
Absolutely, he is. He is
So
part of the
you're-
caucus. Let me explain this to you really quickly, because I know this came up over the summer, and since we're all together, I'll just give you my perspective as caucus chair and why we did what we did. We have this caucus rule. It's not my favorite rule. It was put in place for what I think were noble reasons. The idea was that it's not good generally for members to campaign against each other because incumbents typically win, and it creates a tremendous amount of disunity, disharmony, hurt feelings, anger, hatred, and, people start throwing bombs at each other. And so we said, you know what, there ought to be a rule where you don't campaign against your colleagues in your own caucus. Leave that to the people in their district to sort out, but you don't get in your car and travel halfway across the state and campaign against them. Noble idea. Doesn't work. We put this process in place and we said, you know what, if that happens, the executive board is charged with investigating, and if in fact that actually happened, they have to make a recommendation about punishment, and the caucus has to vote. So we've done that twice. We actually did that in the previous election cycle too, by the way. And there was a recommendation to expel members from the caucus, and what we found out is that the caucus doesn't want to expel its own members. So you have a rule now that's in place that says you're not supposed to campaign against each other. You have an enforcement mechanism. The enforcement can be very severe, so you would think that's a deterrent, but it's not. Obviously, it doesn't deter anybody. In fact, actually, since the rule is put in place, I don't think there's a cause-effect relationship, but just statistically speaking, we see far more of this now than we ever did before the rule was put in place. And it reached epic levels this session, and I think for good reason. I think there were some very strong, legitimate disagreements about the direction of the House and what the future of the House should look like. And I think all's fair in love and war, right? I mean, this is about figuring out who we want to represent us. And sometimes what I do as a state representative, or refuse to do, or prevent from happening, affects your ability as a state representative across the state to be able to represent your district. So we were faced with a situation where we had this rule. It was invoked by, was not coming back, by the way, and was invoking this rule, quite frankly, and I talked to him. It wasn't about unity. It wasn't about moving the caucus forward. It wasn't about bringing Republicans together. It was all about revenge. It was all about an eye for an eye, and I hate what you did to me, and I want to punish you. And I really didn't like that. So we decided, because last time the vote to expel failed miserably, we didn't even get enough people voting in that to actually carry that out, let alone have enough people voting affirmatively. We decided not to go that route. I did not think, as caucus chair, it was in the best interest of the caucus heading into November and heading into next session and having to work through some things together to continue the war, to continue the fight. You've heard me talk about this as speaker, as a candidate. I want to bury the hatchet. I want to mend the fences. I want to get people back in the room and talking again. It's part of the reason why I'm here. I want to repair the relationship between the Texas House and the SREC, because I think the Speaker of the House should come here and talk to you. And you know what? So do my colleagues. They may not say it publicly, but they're very glad I'm here. So what we decided to do basically was recognize, and remember, we have rules. And these members broke the rules, and they knew they broke the rules. And they believed they were doing the right thing, but rules are rules. So I decided to send them a letter, an angry letter, and just say you broke the rules. You knew you broke the rules. You shouldn't have done that. You've created problems within our caucus as far as members hating each other right now. We're all going to have to work through that. And although your actions certainly warrant, under the caucus bylaws, you being removed from the caucus, I don't think that's in the best interest of the caucus, and we're not going to do that. So you're going to stay. Here's your angry worded letter. You can do with it what you want to do with it. We want to move on. We want the caucus to be healed, and let's try to figure out how to come together in November and beyond. So that's that whole issue. I hope that answers your question. So yes, no one who is currently a member of the caucus who will be returning has been kicked out of the caucus, nor will they. Next question.
Mr. Speaker, Dr. Oliverson, speaking of healing, I just wanted to ask the SREC, how'd that sound, Mr. Speaker? Let's hear it.
Thank you.
Yes,
sir.
David Wiley, SD 12.
Yes, sir.
Recently, it's been reported that there's an initiative known as the Contract with Texas, looking to bring together all Texas Republicans, and that your name has not appeared as an endorser or an acceptor of that contract. Can you give us some reasoning why you're not signed on to that yet?
Yeah, I can give you a couple of reasons. First of all, let me just say that I completely support what they're doing. And as I've said before, it's exciting to me as a candidate. You know, when you step out and you believe you're doing the right thing, and you're not sure how it's going to be received, and you just hope that you're not standing alone, and then everybody starts backing away. You know, when I saw the contract for Texas come out, I was so relieved, because I said to myself, and others called me and said, look, they have taken what you said in March. Every principle that you laid out is represented in that contract. They've taken it, they've added to it, and they've made it their own thing. So I'm very, very supportive of what they're doing. There are 2 points of the contract that I just think logistically, I don't know how I could possibly deliver on that. And I don't want to promise things that I know I can't deliver on. And the first one is, we're going to prioritize your priorities. And I'm going to do my very best to make sure that the governor, if he's willing, would consider some of those priorities to be emergency action items, because that allows the House to take them up in the first 60 days. But I can't promise you that every single RPT priority is going to get across the finish line before a single bill authored by a Democrat gets heard on the House floor. That's just a bridge too far, I think, for the body. I think that borders on just sort of meanness, in my opinion. And I understand the spirit behind that, and I share the sentiment, which is that last session we saw far too many Democrat bills pass before any of our priorities even came up. So there's a large gulf of improvement to be had, but I'm not going to promise that I won't hear a single Democrat bill on the House floor. I wouldn't let the membership make that decision, because remember, it's not about me. We have a process and we have committees to work through these things. Some of the priorities there could be disagreements between the House and Senate. We have to work through those disagreements before we can send that bill to the governor's desk. So that's one. And the other one is that the idea of prohibiting the speaker from giving financial contributions to a member in need is problematic. And it's problematic for several reasons. Number one, if you look at that plank, it makes no distinction between primary and general. So what that means is that you would be forever locking the speaker out from helping a member in a tough general reelection. You would also be preventing the speaker from being able to do polling. You know, I have, some of you know that the lieutenant governor and I are good friends, and we talk from time to time. As a management tool, sometimes a member decides they're not for something that the Senate is trying to pass. He may say, share some polling data with them. You know what your district is saying about this issue? Are you really sure that you should be voting against this? I think those are useful things for a speaker too, to be able to say, I know you were against this bill, and I know we need your vote to pass this bill, but I just want you to know where your district is on this, because I know you're hearing that you think you know, but you don't know. School choice. How many people found out the hard way that they didn't really actually know where their district was on that issue this last primary? So those are the two things, and you know, I'm for it, and I will tell you, I think of all the people who are currently candidates for speaker, I'm the only one who's really publicly said, I'm this. So you've got me on almost all of the planks, but those two are just, I don't want, like I said, I'm not going to make you a promise I know I can't keep. That's just who I am.
My question's about Dave Phelan, but just kind of going, speaking on that Dave Wiley brought up, that the contract, and there's a lot of great in it, but on the purse strings, and you can expound more on it, but I'm feeling that these candidates are going to get their money through PACs anyway. And so right now we get the transparency. When we see Dave Phelan give, $200,000 to a rhino or $130,000 to another rhino, we see the transparency. And if they're going to get the money anyway from a PAC, then that lets us know who we need to come after. So there's kind of a catch on that one. But my question to begin with was, a lot of us in the room have been working and contacting our representatives to sign the pledge.
Mm-hmm.
The 46 members, and I believe another one came on yesterday, that makes 47 members of the House that have pledged not to vote for a speaker that will appoint Democrat chairs.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, in the caucus with the secret ballot, so that number would mean that we would need to get to 53. So now we need 6 other members, and that would allow us, if it's the same person, nominate from the caucus our speaker. And then lastly, Phelan will not have a chance if those 47 hold true to their word and not vote for a speaker who would elect Democrat chairs. He has no path.
That's right. Other than the 2017 pathway to, again, if he could find 10 or 12, I forget exactly. Yeah, no, because it's 12 Republicans to go with him. Theoretically, he could pull that trigger. I just don't think they're there, honestly. There are a few that might, because you got to think about what is the opportunity cost of doing that? I'll get to be in power for a session, and then everybody in this room is coming after me. Probably not going to be reelected, so it better be my last session.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there are a lot of people like that would be inclined to do that would want to throw it all away for one session to keep the old team in place.
So the question is, we need 6 more reps that will pledge,
Right.
not to vote for a speaker to elect Democrat chairs. And if we only have one candidate, if it were you, then we would be able to, you would be able to be voted as speaker in the caucus.
So we have
It's just-
two, to be clear, we have two candidates. I want to be fair about
Okay.
that. So Shelby Slauson is also running from Stephenville. Shelby and I are good friends. We talk all the time. And you may have seen my statement when she jumped in the race that I was pleased to see another reformer jump in the ring. We are pretty much ideologically, as far as what does the new house look like, what does reform look like, we're pretty much on the same page. So I haven't really detected any difference in policy. So there are two, and I think that's good, right? So yeah.
And if it goes to the floor, and we're all going to be there with red T-shirts that say ban
Yeah.
Democrat chairs, right? And our
Yeah.
districts. So then we would see the vote, and then it would, for those that cross the aisle to vote with the Democrats, the 64 Democrats, then everyone would be able to see who those
That's right.
representatives were that
You can't
we
hide
do
that.
not need.
You cannot hide that.
So we're going to be there to watch that, I hope.
So that and what you just said, Deborah, is the most important thing, which is that your member at the bare minimum needs to sign that pledge. It's a two-part pledge. It says, I will not vote for a speaker candidate that appoints Democrat chairs, and I will follow the caucus process. So those two things are really important because remember, the caucus process is what allows the Republican caucus to come together and unite behind somebody who's reform-minded. And if everybody holds to that, then there is no chance to break the caucus process on the House floor. I think my time is up. I am happy to go out in the hallway and take any more questions that you have for a few minutes. I just want to say again how grateful I am to be here. Look forward to working with all of you. I am doing this for you. I am doing this for Texas. I'm not doing this for me. And I don't plan on doing this forever, but my hope is that I can get us pointed in a better direction where we're all working together towards common goals. And we're working as teammates, and we're having respect, where you are being listened to, and what you're asking us to do is being taken seriously. And I want to repair those relationships, and I think I can lead you, and I can do that. I can lead our house, and I hope that you'll help give me that opportunity. Just keep talking to your members and remind them that reform is important. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We are going back to elections. So we have 3 members in the officials committee now. We need 2 more. John Carr, Galen Devine, and Jerry Fisher are elected. So we're going to the second round. Yeah, this in this round, don't put 5, only 2 people's name. So 2 more people. You can do less than 2 if it helps your candidate. But the idea is you will have a ballots coming back to you, 2 or less, preferably 2, so that we can get that cleared really fast. Oh, okay. Yeah, Dale showed up, so Dale's here. So we have 64 members now, and the tellers can pass the ballots. Go to the round 2. And your numbers are on the screen if you just want to see it. There are no second speeches, so we're going to the ballots. You got
Chairman.
your first speech, yes.
Mr. Chairman, John Carr, SD
Yes, sir.
22. We vote 5 more, is that right?
2. Yes, sir. 2. 2 names. Don't put more than 2 names. Your ballot will be invalid. Yes. The numbers for the first round is on the screen.
Those are the names you can pick from.
So don't pick the red names. They're already elected. Anyone on the red, don't put their name in there. Rest of the members, you can pick any one of them. Pick 2. Anyone? Sorry, 2 more. That is correct. Yes, yes. Who doesn't have a ballot? Three more. Who doesn't have ballots? Please raise your hands. Anyone else need a ballot? All right. Please collect the ballots once they're ready. James, can you press that down? Someone else is going to fall. Yep. I don't know. Oh, put a chair on top of it, I guess. Anyone hasn't turned in their ballots? Okay, we're going to go count this. Stand at ease for a couple of minutes. Who hasn't turned in their ballots? Okay. Pick 2 people. Don't pick anyone on the red. Yeah, we already collected the ballots. So yeah, please, go ahead. Yeah. So Karen has all those signs from the RNC convention. She's going to pass one out. If you guys want to change, pick another one. Feel free to change and trade, or some of them, it's different wordings, different signs. I don't know if you, Karen, do they get to keep that? Do they get to keep that? All right, it's yours to take home.
If you want, I guess.
Can you guys take your seats, please? We are back in business. All right, you guys ready? They're gonna put the results on the screen. Unfortunately, no one got a majority. So I'm at this point asking if anyone wants to withdraw. And do we have the results on the screen yet? Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming up. So anyone wants to withdraw, we'll do that, and then we'll go to round 3. So if anyone wants to withdraw, please raise your hand. Matt is withdrawing. Pat. Okay, Dale Illman is withdrawing. So if you can start removing their names for the next round. We have 2. Anyone else? Okay. All right. We will go to round 3. So is everyone back in your seats? We have the tellers. Do we have the tellers? Okay. Rhonda is back, and we're waiting on you. Come on back. That's it. Round 3. Let's do it. So this time, again, 2 names. Dale and Matt is not running. So if you can remove their names and put the people who are still on the ballot, that would be great. Round 3, these are the names. Are you guys good? All right. Who doesn't have a ballot yet? Dale, Gwen, Jeremy, Rhonda, did you get it? Okay, the front row needs ballot. You can only get 1 ballot. Those, yeah. I got 1, yeah. It's in there. There's 2. Who doesn't have a ballot yet? Gwen? Rhonda? Daniel? All right. Start collecting them, if you don't mind, please. We need 33 to get the majority. 2 names or less.
You and I talked to Jennifer. I even looked at it yesterday. I was like,
All right. Everyone turned in your ballots? Okay. Stand at ease for a couple of minutes and we'll get these numbers.
I've got 3 meetings in a row, so I'm probably going to postpone my breakfast. So.
Are you flying back today? Yeah.
Hey, Rhonda, Colony Ridge is in Liberty County, isn't it? Colony Ridge, isn't it in Liberty? Oh, it's in that, it's near Cleveland somewhere. And Cleveland is Liberty County.
All right, everyone, please take your seats. We got one more round to go. No one got majority this time. So I'm going to ask more people to withdraw if you want to. They're going to put the numbers up. Anyone else is not on? Okay, let's get all the members in. I cannot force anyone to withdraw, but I can. Microphone to the right. Yes, sir. I'm encouraging anyone who wants to do it. Okay. Andy Eller, ST24. Andy is withdrawing. Anyone else? If we can just get everyone to withdraw, only 2 people to leave, then that'll work too, but who am I kidding? All right, Andy is not on the ballot anymore.
I respectfully withdraw.
Okay.
And
Karen?
I endorse Mike Wheeler.
Okay. Karen Marshall withdrew and endorsed Mike Wheeler. Anyone else wants to withdraw? Yes, no? No? All right, we're going to the next round. This time, let's make it happen. I'm getting hungry. 64 members are in presence, so 33. So 2 people or less. All righty. We're running out of tally sheets. Anyone needs a ballot who has not received a ballot? Okay. All right, please collect the ballots. Very conservative. Very conservative. I like her policy. Other one, anyone hasn't turned in their ballots? All right, we should have 64 ballots. Above 6 feet, that's all it matters. Yep. If we have to go one more round, I'm making them buy lunch.
invite you to join me at the Biblical World Conference in Prestonwood.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Oh, lower there. Okay. I'll.
Turn it off. Oh, you just.
So that was Sheriff Brad Cook. He's a good friend.
I met him. He is the only place I see the Senate office from side.
Yep.
From
Oh, when you walk in?
yeah, when we walk in. So
Him and I usually we'll do our power walks there. I've got 200 miles. So he's got all 17 miles of this county. We got a machine. We can help us. Put it on the ground. We can put it in every county, but put it every. Now that it's up on their land, we can. Barrel over. So now he gets to sit in the so look up there. He buses stop and he can get out. All right. It is, and you know what? It never stops. And I'm dumbfounded that it's small folks because they only go to the race. Hey, you go across here, you go. And I'm like, and well, and up where we're at in Terrell County, we have 10 full guard and so yeah, they're not well, they're trying to. And so I found
they will make it up.
well, I found 18 dead bodies out there so far. So me and the sheriff out there, he's Ross Wilson. He's a really good dude, and he's a nationwide spokesman. That's my county. We actually share a house I've got out there. We share the compound. Those. And that's where I moved from Montgomery County, and I grew up in Houston. So,
You will pay which area?
no, I grew up in South West University in Bel Air. Yep.
Yeah, I worked there. Actually, I worked there.
Okay, I used to be at St. Luke's. Right. I was a firefighter, police officer, paramedic. Oh, so I used to deliver babies as a paramedic at St. Luke's. So, do this right here.
I work for India.
Okay. My dad was part of the when Anderson and Luke's were together. He went and studied his hydrotherapy was Luke's, but we went together.
Yeah, I'm actually on that. Academic award. And also I'm a computer programmer.
One of your fire marshals there, he's long since retired. David Cole. I was a kid, so when I got out of the fire academy, the police academy, I should come work for in the Anderson. We're hiring fire so you can safety stuff. And I was talking 1990s. I'm going to college. I just got out of the army after the first time. And at that time, I mean, people were so I'll do my work. Hey, double my pleasure. It's one of those. They were overtime. Hey, we got a third shift. Yeah, we work all through the night, and then they pay you $3 an hour more. And then they're like, hey, we want to put you on the security detail for the hospital, which then you got to go. I went over to St. Luke's and worked over there.
I'm back to this side. The Indian is going and you can Baylor. Yep. I work for Baylor. You know, I've been working like
You're a programmer?
I'm a programmer.
We need to talk about stuff we need here. We've been trying to get there.
My brother also said
Hey, we got results. Let's got yes, and we made it this time. So the two other members who are elected are Jim Pickle and Deborah Fight. Congratulations. And I'm going to appoint my two, Steve Evans and Andy Eller. That concludes the business of electing our officials committee. All right. Next process is approval of our rest of the committees, composition of other committees. Per our bylaws, the chair appoints the chair of each committee. The members of each committee are nominated by the chair and approved by the SREC. So let's go one at a time. This is updated, right? Yes. So we'll start with the party org. I've named Robin Cooper as the chair and Susan Fountain as the vice chair. And the following members are nominated to the committee: Don McDonald. What am I doing? Okay. Don McDonald, Cheryl Thompson, Maggie Vett, Tony Trevino, Dan Tully, Patrick Wamoff. Hold on a second. Kiko Conseco. I had to write it down indifferently, just make sure I don't mess up his name. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the party organization committee is set. Yes, ma'am. It is out of order.
If
Yeah, go
amenable
ahead.
to the chair of the committee, I would like to add the name Karen Marshall to the party organization committee.
Hold on. How many people would that make? Hold on a second.
And if necessary, Kiko says he'd like to trade anyway. Kiko knows.
Karen, I'm going to hold that. The chairman gets to nominate, and I'm going to hold the list as it is for now. Let's come back at the end of the meeting and see if we can do that. Because I don't want to. What's going to happen is I'm going to have amendments on every committee if I go for this, and I don't want to do that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Point of personal privilege. Akiko Conseco, SD 26. I'm here to serve, but I think that I would be better served in other committees with my talents and my experience. After
Okay.
all, you've got somebody that's 75 years old and is willing to do so many other things with so many other years of my experience that I can lend to this state Republican Executive Committee. And that's the reason why I'm objecting to I will go ahead and serve if the chairman says so. However, I think that I would better be I could better serve in other committees, but I can always visit them if that's the chairman's choice.
Yeah, let's go through the list and confirm each one of those committees. And I mean, this is not set on stone for 2 years. We can come back and work on these committees if we have to. For the time being, you guys got the list, and that's the list I'm going with. I'm not making any changes today. So for the partnership and coalitions, I named David Wiley as the chair and Galen Devine as the vice chair. The following are nominated for the committee: Susan Lucas, Melissa Kerr, Randy, how do I say the last name? Perm, okay. Elaine Cook, Dale Gibble, Royce Albert, Chuck Burnett. All of those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The partnerships and coalitions committee is set. For the rules committee, I named Jim Pickle as the chair and Steve Evans as the vice chair. The following are nominated for the committee: Leslie Thomas, Melinda Morris, Dale Inman, Matt Patrick, Deborah Fight, Kristen Bentley, Chuck Burnett. All of those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the Rules Committee is set. The Resolutions Committee, I named Scott Bowen as the chair, Dale Illman as the vice chair. The following are nominated for the committee: Andy Eller, Ralph Fight, Susan Fountain, Paul Hale, Rachel Horton, Jim Pickle, Chuck Burnett, Gwen Withrow, Susan Lucas. All of those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The Resolutions Committee is set. For the Legislative Priorities Committee, I've named Leslie Thomas and Rachel Horton as co-chairs. The following are nominated for the committee: Greg Murphy, Christina Keeler, Matt Tiskus, Jeremy Story, Kristen Bentley, Deborah Fight, John Kerr, Jenaria Lewis, Scott Bowen, Lisa Hendrickson, Dr. Melinda Morris. All of those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the Legislative Priority Committee is set. For the Election Integrity Committee, I've named Lisa Hendrickson as the chair, with Andy Eller as the vice chair. The following are nominated for the committee: Tisha Crow, Greg Murphy, Tony Trevino, Roman Klein, Ed Zenner, Ken Moore, Rhonda Ward, Patrick Wamoff, Susan Valiant. Did I say that right? Karen Marshall, Daniel Hunt. All of those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The Election Integrity Committee is set. For the Convention Arrangements Committee, this committee will be expanded as we get closer to the convention. I've named Galen Devine as the chair, Steve Evans as the vice chair. The following are nominated for the committee: David Wiley. And these are the guys who did the work last time, so that's basically what I'm doing. All of those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it, and the Convention Arrangement Committee is set. For the Candidate Development Committee, I named Ed Zenner as the chair, Bruce Bishop as the vice chair. The following are nominated for the committee: Ann Gabart, Walter West, Lucy Traynor, Brandon Hodges, Kelly Perry, Jane Cancino, Dale Gibble, Patrick Wamoff, Jerry Fisher. All of those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and the Candidate Development Committee is set. For Platform Advocacy Committee, I named Matt Patrick as the chair and John Carr as the vice chair. The following are nominated for the committee: Becky Green, Paul Hale, Christina Keeler, Ken Moore, Dan Tully, Daniel Hunt, Matt Tiskus, Melinda Morris. All of those in favor, please say aye. Who did I skip? Sorry. Well, my list is different. Hold on a second for me. Yeah, Randy's in there. Randy Perm. My bad. Didn't transfer over to this one. All of those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Platform Advocacy Committee is set. Yes. For the local government, I named Ralph Fight as the chair and Tricia Crow as the vice chair. The following members are nominated to the committee: Dale Illman, Jenaria Lewis, David Wiley, Michael Wheeler, Kelly Perry, Bruce Bishop, Rolando Garcia, Jeremy Story. All of those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The Local Government Committee is set. Yes, sir. That's correct. That is correct. I will add someone today before we leave. Yeah. Okay. Volunteer Committee. I have named Gwen Withrow as the chair and Susan Lucas as the vice chair. And the following members are nominated to the committee: Lucy Trainer, Rolando Garcia, Maggie Witt, Karen Marshall, Ann Gabart, Jane Casino, and Susan Fountain. All of those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The volunteer committee is set. The Grassroots Club, I've named Dorinda Randall, our vice chair, as the chair, and Rhonda Ward as the vice chair of the committee. Brenda and the following members are nominated as the committee: Brenda Estes, Stacky Joseph, Jerry Fisher, Robin Cooper, Michael Wheeler, Brandon Hodges, and Cheryl Thompson Draper. All of those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The Grassroots Committee is set. 1 second. Yes. You do have them. Okay. So the next is Candidate Resource Committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
Becky Green, SD 17, and you have already appointed me as chair of this committee.
Yes, I have.
Per our bylaws, I believe it is Section 8C, Article 7 of our bylaws for CRC. You are required to appoint a vice chair, which has not been done yet, and I would recommend Mary Jane Avery. Virgil Cruz has also been not nominated for this committee or appointed for this committee, but Virgil is not eligible to be vice chair. He can only be secretary.
Okay.
So I would like to recommend Mary Jane Avery as vice chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm good with that. So for the CRC, Becky Green it's already confirmed at the last meeting. Vice chair will add Mary Jane Avery, and the members: Kristen Bentley, Walter West, Elaine Cook, Ann Gabart, Susan Valiant, Raman Klein, Tony Trevino, Kiko Conseco, Bruce Bishop, Addie Tellis, Adolfio, yeah. And the non-SREC members: Susan Wright, Harold Jenkins, Jill Tate, Steve Atwell, Carrie Cheshire, and Virgil Cruz. Virgil's already. All right, I'm adding Jane into that. So she's will be a, yeah, she's not on the list. Including Jane, all of those in favor of approving this list, please say aye. All opposed say nay. And the CRC is set. Give me 1 more second. All right, that's the end of the business for this session. We will stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. We will now be dismissed to our committee meetings. The officials committee is meeting now. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
the time for CRC committee has been moved to accommodate the schedule of Virgil Cruz, who has to be on many committees.
Yes.
So we will be meeting at 10:30 in, I think, the Oaks room. Well,
It's 11
at
o'clock.
10:30 time slot.
As soon as the officials finished, CRC will meet. I need him there for. Thank you, guys.